Prophet Ronald Dwayne Whitfield recording today in the United States on Tuesday, 28 January 2020. On yesterday, I made a series of videos making observations and hoping to give my input on what I think things that should be or ought be, whatever. Today, it has come to my attention that as I contemplate on this, I'm hearing that the Democrats stated that they had to rush and impeach the president, that they had to get this done quickly before the next election. Let's think about that, before the next election. If President Trump has done something wrong in his first term, and were he to be elected again, that would not, his second election, make void or null the conduct that has already passed. If the president had violated the law already, he can surely be dealt with, investigated, and tried during his second term. Does that make sense, y'all? Does that make sense? So I need whoever that might be paying attention to my videos to make that public to the public, point that out, that argument does not hold water. I'm noticing that the President Trump's team, I like the way they do that. I want to call that guy and ask him if I can borrow that. He makes what he makes his he refutes the House's position, and then he says they didn't tell you this. Why not? I like that. Yeah, why not? I mean, you know why not? You know why not? And so I wish I could start thinking back with how I learned in my English grammar books how the Democrats went like most attorneys are trained and taught that when they bring out an issue, they are supposed to also address any arguments that can be put forth from the opposing side. So, for example, they might tell you now, it is true that you concede, you offer concession that the President of the United States has authority to assert executive privileges. But in this case, then you go on and address the matter why that the President cannot assert that matter in the present situation. And I'm not hearing that Congress or the House of Representatives have done that. They are just putting out, they're not trying to address in a real sense any arguments that the president's counsels might make. And you ask, why not? When you go to court, that's what prosecutors do. Defendant will probably come and tell you that, for example, in post-arrest silence, at the time that the defendant was arrested, he whatever, and now he sits back and see what the prosecution has to say, and now he wants to invoke his right to remain silent. Whatever, I forgot how that argument goes, but that's not what they're doing. So the last point I want to touch upon, I think I've touched them all, is that we're told, people, that they had to hurry up and get the president impeached. But then they have made out the point that, well, 33 days passed by if you were in such a rush to violate all the due process, and you can't. This is what I really want to touch upon right now. People, don't you not understand that even if the president or anyone else of the United States did whatever it is that they say he done, the problem for them is that, okay, even if true, you still cannot impeach him because you cannot violate due process. And they act like they don't know that. It doesn't matter. That's what these laws are in place for. The fact that the president is the president don't mean that he loses his God-given or inalienable rights, however you pronounce that word. He doesn't lose that just because he's the president of the United States. He has the right to hold on to his office just like any other person has the right to hold on to their job. You just can't go around firing people because, you know, this is an elected official. But let me drive it home. Let me just repeat it 100 times so it'll sink in. You got the, however you say that, the propaganda. You have to propagate the propaganda. You have to the president. So even if what they say is true, even if it's true, world, this is what evidently they don't want you to know. You cannot, we cannot, Congress, the courts, nobody can violate the rights that are enumerated in the United States Constitution. So even though the president committed murder, or the president done this, you cannot violate the law to get him. Because if you do, no matter, even though the president committed murder, we have to throw it out because the government violated the 4th Amendment. The government violated the 1st Amendment. The government violated the 3rd Amendment. Whatever amendment it is or that law. That's why you have to work. Otherwise, the government is not above the law. Just because you cannot violate the law, you cannot do that. Maybe I'm not qualified to explain what I'm trying to say, but I know what I know. I just don't, evidently know how to articulate like the members of Congress are doing. They so friendly about it, by doing it on the president's team. They should be a little more emphatic in their delivery so that people can become angry and what the shit hell is going on. So that's why this word come in, assuming arguendo, for the sake of an argument that what they say is true. Assuming what they say is true, senators, if you all are lawyers, any member on this Senate, out of you 100 members of senators, those of you that are lawyers know doggone well that even if these allegations are true, just for the sake of an argument, we still have to reject this crap because they violated due process. What the hell you think we got that for? You can't, okay, all I'm hearing, these, what's his name, Chuck Schumer, they not disputing that they haven't violated due process. You cannot dispute that. Okay, so therefore put an end to it. Because y'all gonna start a fucking riot out here in the street. Y'all trying to start a motherfucking riot. All the 63 motherfucking million people voted for this man, and y'all think y'all can just violate this man's God-given rights to due process and make no motherfucking difference that it's political? Political, look man, the Constitution in Article 6, Clause 2 says that the United States Constitution is the supreme law of the land. And the Constitution provides that in any kind, whether it be a criminal prosecution or whether it be a state prosecution or federal prosecution, whether it be civil or criminal, due process protects people in criminal proceedings and in civil proceedings, in political proceedings and legal proceedings, whatever, don't matter. These are the laws of the land. So this is just the quickest way to shut it out. We don't want to go through all this long, drawn-out process. And if we already know what our outcome is going to be, I've already said that the jurisdiction. But if you want to address the merits, okay, so let's start arguing, get it over with, throw that crap out. They violated due process. You violated due process. Therefore, it's over with. Don't violate due process. You can't, and then it should be a crime, and it's a crime to willfully deprive a person of due process. So, Mr. President, when this is over with, I instruct you can go on TV and do it. Go on TV and do it and instruct the Attorney General to go after and investigate any person that in these proceedings, this will send a clear message to any future generation that we're not going to continue to allow people to violate due process as if that ain't nothing. Due process is everything underneath God. If it were not for due process, we don't have a if we don't have due process, we don't have a government, we don't have law and order. And that's all I'm going to say on this here.